everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're all doing super well. Welcome back. So this is the first sit down video I have done since I've come traveling. Feels very weird. I did really have to improvise. I've currently got a washing basket thing on my bed laying, so the angle. So apologies that it's not probably the best lighting and everything like that, but we are improvising. But as you can tell by the title, this is a big old Bali Q&A. I am so buzzing to be doing this because I've been taking notes and I've been trying to do a massive summary of it, and obviously I went to Bali for 3 weeks last month, and I just wanted to do basically a roundup of it and share my favourite parts, my least favourite parts, would I recommend, So let's get straight on into it. So the first question over that I asked you guys on Instagram, if you had any, was what route and who did I go with. So I'll start with who I went with as the main one, because that was kind of the whole trip itself. And as you can see by the top I'm wearing, it was with Camp. I work for a company called camp.co.uk. I'm based here in Thailand, but I did do the camp fully paid by myself as a complete guest in Bali. So I done the Camp Bali Island Hopper. It was a 20-day tour and we went round the islands of Bali. I'm gonna keep on having to remind myself to say Bali instead of Thailand because that's where I am at the minute. And it was, off the top of my head, the base price is around £1,300, but I got it for cheaper because I booked it during a special discount time. So that's generally how it is. It's a 20 days tour, all your accommodations included, majority of your activities are included. You've got a tour guide, you've got the transfers, So we done the route of, we started in, they classed it as Seminyak, but it was Kuta. Now, I didn't like Kuta really at all. There were bits and bobs that I liked, like there were some really nice restaurants, but I would have preferred to stay in the centre of Seminyak or Canggu. That would have been better for me. But anyway, we started in Seminyak, then we moved over to Ubud, and then we moved to Lombok, Senggigi, and then we went to Lombok Kuta, and then we went to the Gili Islands, and then we went back to Kuta. So that was like our trip circle. And my favourite was probably Ubud. I didn't think it was going to be, but I absolutely fell in love with it. I just felt so at peace there, spiritual. We had such good nights, and there was so much to do there, and yeah, it just felt like really a safe and nice area. My least favourite, as I've said, was Kuta. I didn't really like Lombok Senggigi. I liked Lombok Kuta. I loved the Gili Islands, and was that it? That's where we went? Yeah. If I was to go back, I wouldn't do the same route. I do obviously by myself or with someone, like a traveller. I wouldn't go as a group. But I would start off in Seminyak or Canggu, and then I would make sure I do Nusa Penida, sorry if I'm saying these words wrong, and Uluwati, like that one, you know, I'd really like to do them as well. I think that I'd like to incorporate that in, and I do some things a bit differently. I would really like to take my mum as well, because I know she's always wanted to go to Bali, but that was the route that we took. I did really think that I chose the best tour on Bali. I just find that I really like spending the amount of time that we do. We do a little bit of teaching, we do a little bit of volunteering with the turtles, and there's loads of things, but I'm going to talk about the tour in a minute. So the next thing is, what was the weather like? So Bali, it really does vary on what time of year you go, and if I'm being completely honest, the weather was actually really good. Before we got there, the weather app did say that it was going to be really rainy and everything like that, but however, I really found that it didn't rain really at all. Like, it was hot. Like, it was hotter, I think, in Bali than it was in Thailand, and it was extremely humid. Like, it was warm. So I think any sort of time of year that you actually go to Bali, it's going to be nice weather. But the water, like in terms of the beaches, the tide was so high and rocky. So if you want to go for like surfing, it's amazing, but if you just want to go for swimming, it can knock you out. But I think it just depends really, and each day was different, but it was so warm. I was hot all the time. What was your least and favourite activity that you did? So I'm going to run through a little bit of the activities anyway. So if I'm being honest, I found that we did going to the turtle conservation, we done the teaching, which was not really an activity, but I really enjoyed that. We done surfing, which I really liked. We done sunset yoga. We visited like the monkey forest and the rice temples and everything like that. I picked out to do white water rafting, which was an extra £50. Then I chose to do releasing the turtles, which was 250 rupee, which I think is around like £15, I think. But that goes back into the centre, so I didn't mind at all with that one. And what else did I do? Oh, a lot of people done like a Pink Beach tour, but that wasn't booked through camps. They done that separately. We done a water park, that was £1. It was like ridiculous. And there were like a few hidden extra bits, but apart from that, all the activities are included. And also a massive thing that I think is included was the transfers. The transfers are definitely amazing. Like you wake up and you're being taken to a place. Like it's great, you don't have to think, and it's so easy. But my favorite activity, I really loved sunset yoga. I thought it was so spiritual, and I really liked the snorkeling day. It's got to be the snorkeling day in Gili Tea, because that was so much fun as well. Okay, would you go back? Okay, I would go back. I would go back and do it a little bit differently. I found real pros and cons of Bali. I still love Thailand a lot more. I think the food for me wasn't up there. I did find myself eating a lot of Western food because I don't feel like Bali really has a culture food. I did try and find it. I tried to eat from stalls and things, but the portions were just, I felt really small and quite expensive. And that was another thing. I spent a lot more than I thought I would have. So a lot of people have asked me money, which I'm going to go into in a minute. But yeah, I spent a lot more in my food time. The people aren't as nice, but that you do find like in areas it does vary. Like Kuta, I didn't feel safe at all. A few people did have things stolen from them, so definitely be aware of that. Whereas Ubud, I felt super safe. So I think it depends what area you go in. The weather was so nice. I really loved the weather. And yeah, I think that was it, but definitely would go back. I'd love to take my mum, and I think we definitely love to go. Average day spend. So obviously, as I said, I've done it with a tour, so I didn't have to put in accommodation, activities or anything like that, which is quite good. Food wise, drink wise, again, it really does depend. I'm going to go into the side of money here because that's a general question. I find that I drink quite a lot. Like I'm quite a heavy drinker, but also I could go a couple of nights without a drink, so it just varies. I wrote this down in my notes actually. Let me just get it up because I've done a whole blog post on my Brooke Megan Travels. So I definitely would say that, yeah, rarely drinking, don't smoke, and want to do 1 or 2 extra activities, £250 to £300 a week. Drink occasionally, buy beer from Mini Mart and do a few activities, which is sort of me, £300 to £350 a week. Drink every night, get starter, main, dessert, and do every activity, £400 to £450 a week. So I would say that I probably spent about £300 a week, which isn't an awful amount. I would say about 1,000 I spent extra, but again, you can do it so much cheaper, and you can do it so much more expensive. Again, it really varies. And when people ask me about just budgeting, I'm really like, it really does depend. But I would counter in the fact that you might think the food and drinks cheaper, but it's really not that. It's cheaper than England, like don't get me wrong, but when you're out here, you're like, oh, that's actually quite expensive to what I thought it would be. And if you want to buy like clothes and stuff out here, you just got to barter, basically. Is a large suitcase okay to bring? Now, I would actually say that bringing a suitcase on these trips, you can do. I found in Bali that I didn't use my backpack once. I've used it more in Thailand because I'm getting off and on a lot more boats. But in Bali, I didn't find that I used my backpack once. And as long as it's, I think, one of those, not like a massive suitcase, where like it's like proper hard and you've got to like wheel it everywhere. I think if it's like adaptable to being a backpack, I think that's such a good idea, because I find that especially with these camps, you get everyone to help you. The hotels are really helpful. They always bring your stuff down and everything like that. So yeah, I would say that you're fine to bring a large suitcase. I don't think that was going to cause you a lot of problems. Travel vaccinations. This is one I get actually messaged about quite a lot. Now, obviously, I'm not a doctor. I definitely would say to visit your local Lloyds, Superdrug or NHS, and they can give you advice. I had ones back from when I went to Thailand back in 2018. I would definitely say that you need your typhoid. I got my yellow fever. A lot of people get their rabies, but it's not like you must have your rabies. And also you obviously get all your measles and stuff. But I would generally, there's loads on the main website, go on the NHS main website, and it will tell you everything you should get. I think some more than others. Like if you don't want to, if rabies is too expensive, don't get it. But don't come out here and touch all the dogs, cats, monkeys, and everywhere, because then it's like, do you know what I mean? The chance of you getting it is quite slim, but obviously just be careful when you get here. What travel documents did you need? So to enter Bali at the minute, obviously things are changing. This might even be changed to the time I put this up. I needed to enter my proof of no PCR test, but that's been completely scrapped now, so don't worry about that. You need your fully vaccination status. I printed all of these documents out. You get a visa on arrival. It's a 30-day visa and it costs around £25. As soon as you get off the aeroplane, you all sit down on a thing and you go up one by one to get your visa. You need your vaccination, you need your, so which is like on your NHS pass. You need your insurance that covers over like £10,000 worth of COVID insurance. You need, when you like apply for your visa, you need your passport, and then you need your travel documents. And that's pretty much, oh, I had to have my onward flight as well to get out of Heathrow. And what did I also do? I needed my accommodation as well, which is varied. So, but mainly at the minute, you don't have to have your PCR test. You don't have to quarantine on arrival, which is fabulous. Because I had to do my PCR test, which was very stressful. Okay, money side of things. What do you think? Card, cash, Monzo, etc. So I took out not a lot of cash at all. I took out £50 worth of cash to Bali. I didn't feel like I wanted to take out a lot just in case I'd lost it. So I took £50 worth of cash out, and then when I got there, I got a Monzo card. Monzo's cards are the way forward. I think that they are just perfect. They look like this. Perfect. And honestly, they don't charge you to spend anywhere. So if you go into a restaurant, because if you've got a Lloyds card, it will it will charge you to spend like in restaurants and bars and things. Monzo doesn't charge you, and it doesn't charge you for the first £250 a month out of your account if you take out cash. I found that a lot of places in Bali did actually accept card, which is fabulous. I found that like 80% worth of places did. If you're going to go to like more of a rural area and you're going to go to more of a rural cafe, then they won't. Sometimes they do add 3% service charge on there as well, and that's another thing that I found in Bali. They didn't include the service charge or the tax included in the price. When it came to like splitting bills, it was a bit of a nightmare. But I generally would say that make sure you factor in that as well when you're like splitting bills and when you're paying as well. But Monzo all the way, and then you can get loads of cash. There's loads of ATMs out here, and they don't charge you, whereas Thailand, for instance, charges you 220 baht each time you want to take out money, which adds up, like it adds up massively. So I've just ended up taking like wads of cash out because yeah, I didn't think about that. So yeah. How bad is the monkey forest? Do I need to be scared? Now, I was actually petrified before the monkey forest. I had heard some really bad horror stories, but it's not as bad as you think. I think if you don't provoke the monkeys, and you are really like careful of all your belongings, for instance, like if you've got a bottle of water, don't take that bottle of water out. Like keep it in your bag, keep your phone. The phone thing is a bit difficult. I think because it's in the monkey forest and it's got like loads of people walking around, they take your photos, they're a little bit more calm, as whereas if you were in the random forest and there were monkeys, they'd probably attack you. But these ones are okay. I didn't have any problems apart from two monkeys fighting each other. However, in Thailand, I had one girl monkey stole some water. So they do vary, but I wouldn't be scared. If you get a bit worried, there are like little places that you can just walk over where there's no monkeys as well. Did you feel safe? Yes, I did. 95% of the time, I felt super safe. I feel like I am quite I think about things before I do everything. I don't drink to get myself absolutely slaughtered that I don't know where I am as well. I felt safe, especially traveling as a big tour group. I definitely would recommend that for anyone first time going traveling. But yeah, I felt safe everywhere apart from Kuta, where people got their stuff stolen. I felt like I felt okay with this little bum bag being around my chest. I'd always recommend a bum bag to take as well, guys, and because they just save your life. And that's the next thing, your must brings, and a bum bag is up there. If you don't have a bum bag, you'll end up buying one out here, and because you just take it out on every night out, you take it out in the day, you take it to keep your money. It's a must. I would also say a sleep mask is a must bring as well. These are really useful, especially if you're sharing rooms, and also earplugs. And then I've got the rest of my list on my phone of everywhere you need to bring. Okay, so I would say bug spray. I got bit so badly in Bali, and I've got now scars on my legs. Mosquito bands, bug spray, anything that you can find. Comfy footwear. I didn't bring enough comfy footwear. I didn't bring any sliders, which I should have, so I've had to buy some out here. I've also had to buy Crocs out here. If you've got Crocs, bring them, because they are a lifesaver and they're so comfy. I would say trainers, flip-flops and sliders. If you want to bring sandals, then that as well. Hair treatment. The water here is harsh and it does start to ruin your hair, hence why my hair's like up, because I've literally just put a hair mask in it. The colour's coming out. Like, generally, hair treatment, and also if you've got blonde hair, purple shampoo. Shampoo and conditioner is also quite pricey here, so if you do want to bring that, bring it. Medication, diarrhea tablets, paracetamol, ibuprofen, seasickness tablets, plaster and blister pads as well. A first aid kit is always a really, really good idea. A waterproof phone case and bag. Especially if you're doing the islands, you can find these off Amazon or you can buy them when you get here. They're really, really handy and they keep all your stuff dry. A microfiber towel, loads of people had them. They were a lifesaver. A mini fan, this is really good, especially if you're doing lots of walking. You can buy them off Amazon, they're around £10, and they're tiny and they just last in your bag. And tampons, really, really hard to find in Bali and in Asia, and they're super expensive. So if you know you're gonna come on your period while you're away, bring some. I generally done 2 t-shirts, a couple of vests. I did actually buy a few things out here, just because I found I just don't have enough stuff, but those are the essential items that I think you should bring. And that is pretty much it. I don't want to go too much into Camp Bali because this isn't a Camp Bali Q&A, but I would be happy to do one if a few of you guys are doing it. I've also done one over on their Instagram story, so definitely feel free to check that out. If you guys have any more questions, please feel free to DM me on my Instagram, Brooke Megan. And yeah, that is pretty much it. Hope you guys have enjoyed, and the Thailand series is coming super soon, so I hope you're excited for that. And yeah, have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.